There is no more an exhilarating thought when you are sitting down to prepare an opening that you could potentially prepare an entire game of chess all the way to the end and use every single move that you've already prepared ahead of time in order to win a game, therefore avoiding having to think at all. And that is exactly what I've just done. I played an entire game to completion using entirely prep. And not only that, but I literally, about 49 minutes ago, finished making a YouTube video where I actually recorded myself talking about the line that I'm going to show you here today. So if you remember my last video, which was called The New Nakhmanson Gambit, I showed this really cool new gambit that you can play, but I also showed you that there were two games that I played against a certain FIDE master, so shout out to my opponent if you're watching. His name is Sergey Kim. He managed to beat me twice. He beat me 7 hours ago. He beat me 6 hours ago, so this was in the morning. We got two games almost back to back. But then I recorded myself making a YouTube video about the new Nakhmanson where I literally discussed the very line that I won with 50 minutes ago. So I'm going to retrace my steps. It wasn't all positive. It took a little bit of work to get to where we are, but after making the video and after going through this, I was able to win. But let's retrace our steps. The first two games I did lose. So let's take a look at how we got there. And this is the new Nakhmanson Gambit. And we got to this position. And here, instead of playing knight to c3 on move 6, I played rook e1, and only after d5 did I play knight to c3. This is the new thing that I'm testing out, and it's a very cool move because you leave all of your pieces hanging, and black needs to decide which one to take. My opponent decided to play one of the most critical lines in this variation, which is to take the knight, and after I retake on d5, to play the move pawn to f5. And by this way, black is able to keep this knight forever. This is black basically saying, I'm going to take your piece, and I'm going to keep mine forever. And this is engine approved. This is a little bit better for black, minus 0.7, minus 0.6, something like that. But in my mind, if you're up 4 pieces, and my next move is knight to g5, there's going to be a lot of tricks and traps along the way. And that's definitely how this opening is. But it's also very important that as white, you know what you're doing. And the first time that I played, I most certainly did not, because my opponent played one of the moves that's not recommended. He first played bishop to c5, which is actually the most common move. So if you do end up playing this, you don't want to play like me. You want to learn from my mistakes so you can actually win right now. Because even though this is the most popular way for black to play, white is now actually winning. And when I saw this, my first thought is, uh-oh, he is attacking f2. Like, obviously, I'm doing stuff on f7 as well, but I wanted to stop his counterplay. And knowing the normal Nakhmanson, I wanted to do stuff on the e file. So I took this, he took back, and I took with my rook. And this is where the computer says, I start to go wrong. What I should do instead is take advantage of the fact that this bishop is over here on c5. And I should first throw in queen to h5, and then after he blocks or whatever, then I can take here, check, and then I can grab this bishop. And if I was able to come up with this concept, which I didn't see from a whiles away, I would have been able to win this game, because now the black king is totally exposed. There's way too many weaknesses. My rook is about to become a super monster. My bishop, I'm assuming, is also going to do some tremendous work here. So this would just be a winning position for me. But I didn't know that. And so what I did instead of playing the winning move, was I played rook takes e4. And then after he blocked with his knight, I made things even worse. I believe I should still do something on the e-file. Maybe this move was fine, but it never really got much better for me here. Well, just kidding. I should play queen to e2 is what the computer is saying, and maybe I have some more chances. But I totally didn't see the main idea, which that was the problem. And I lost my queen. So this game, okay, it was bad, but you know, I played a blitz game and then I looked it up and I was ready to face my opponent for a second time. Now you can see that this game also didn't go my way, but this time the opponent had a surprise for me. So we played the new Nakhmanson Gambit. I got prepped. I'm like, all right, you're going to play the same thing. And then you know what? I'm going to take this and I'm going to play queen h5 and I'm going to be able to win. But he surprised me again by playing the second most common move in this position, which is bishop to e7. Now this one, if you don't know the winning move here, it's really, really hard to find. This one more than the other variation. I can't fault myself for this one. The other one, that was kind of my fault that I lost this game. But in this position, I have an amazing move. I didn't know it at the time, but you're going to see it in the third game. So I took here, he took back, and I was playing like it was the other variation. So in the other variation, there was a bishop on c5. So after g6, takes, I was able to play this move bishop takes c5. But like a dummy, this is a totally different position. The bishop is much better on e7 because now it's not a tactical target. So once I went here, I'm already super lost. He just got castled. He played bishop to f6, and I'm just down way too much material, and I was never able to get back. So you know what I did? Okay, I wasn't able to win this game. This is what happened. I'm down material, so I'm going to lose. Tried to sacrifice, but really nothing happening. Okay, so now I'm playing the same guy. I recorded a YouTube video. I'm like, and I showed this entire variation that I'm about to show you here in that video. After recording the video, I played 2 games. This was the second game that I played after making that video. I got paired with the same guy, and I was very excited. Now, the first time we played, we got to this position. And by the first time, I mean the second time we played, we got to this position. And after knight to g5, he surprised me. So I don't know, maybe he went back and looked it up. But to my delight, he played bishop to e7. And I knew, because I had literally just recorded myself walking through the moves, that I was going to be able to win here. So I was able to play all of this without any thinking. And the crushing move, which is definitely not obvious at all here. I mean, you can go ahead and pause and think, because, okay, knight f7, maybe that's okay. Maybe you want to check. Okay, what are you going to do? The winning move is to remove this defender. Rook takes e4. And after this recapture, you already have a mating attack. I played queen to h5. And after g6, I knew it was mate in 5. And it's actually kind of remarkable that you can get this position, and these pieces are well coordinated enough. And the king, like these pieces actually end up being in the way of the black king. So after bishop to f7, the king cannot run this way, or else you're just going to get checkmated on the spot. So the king has to go here. And now, queen to g4, the king still needs to come up. He can't go to either of these squares. There's none of the pieces that can block. Sometimes when there's pieces this close to the black king, it's like they can block and shelter you. But here, the black pieces are so uncoordinated that the king is forced to come up. Now I'm able to deliver this check. And again, we kind of take a look. I'm not letting you go to any of these squares. You can't go here. The knight is covering this square. So again, black only has one move. The king has to come up to e5. But I just keep attacking. Now I play queen to f4. We can take a look around at all the squares again. The king can't go to any of these squares. He's absolutely forced to come all the way up to d4. And now I get to choose. I could mate with a bishop. I could mate with a pawn. You can let me know in the comments how you would decide to mate. But I did it with the pawn. I wanted a Rosen trophy. So that's just a story. I hope you guys like this one of how I was able to win an entire game with prep. So if you like it, subscribe!
If you're feeling trapped like a queen, no blunders, only sacrifice and see. Well, you may have the blues. Never be a chicken when you lose.